That's a trailer for Mass Effect 3, guys. You gotta get that game. I'm getting it. If you're in the USA with us, you've probably got it already. If you're in the UK, you get it Friday. Welcome to the Xwf Show 8. I'm the Bear. We had a great show last week. We've had messages on Twitter saying Dr. Karn, Luke Loins, they want to see it again. The fans want to see that piece of crap again. It didn't even end. The ref ended the match because it was terrible. He didn't end it because Jacobs interrupted. He ended it because the match was terrible and the ratings were going down. Anyway, tonight we got the Tag Division Tournament final when the Polka Kings take on the Hardcore Hate Crew. Whoever wins goes against Birds of Prey at Rampage. Our main event tonight will be Big D versus the Lethal Cantarif to decide the #1 contendership for the No Holds Barred title. They're the only matches that we've got for tonight. Maybe there's going to be more. I don't know. They're the only ones for now. Either way, we're going backstage now with Yashi Aldatori. He's speaking to Tobias Upson. So let's see what he's got to say. He's asking Upson how is he doing. Upson says he's not feeling too bad. This is interesting. You gonna give us something better? And Yashi says, last week you prevented Mike Jacobs from interrupting the main event. That's what we saw last week. Jacobs came down during Dr. Karn versus Luke Loins. And then Upson came down and attacked Jacobs. And then the ref ended the match. Upson says that's right, the fans wanted to see Luke Loins versus Dr. Karn. I don't know why the fans would want to see that piece of trash. I'd rather watch anything. Tobias Upson says it's a shame that the ref felt the need to end the match as a no contest. Yeah, it's a shame because, Tobias Upson, you came down the stage and made a big fuss of it. Either way. Yes, she says, it's being said Mike Jacobs is angry at you for attacking him. What you have to say? Well, what you have to say about that, Tobias Upson? Come on, tell us what you have to say about it. Well, wait, what? Mike Jacobs? Oh my God! Mike Jacobs just attacking Tobias Upson. He says, you little punk, I want you one last time at Rampage. He's just stomping the hell out of him. He's leaving now. What the hell? Mike Jacobs just shouted he wants a first blood match. Oh my God. First blood match. Yashi Auditori's calling for some help now. I don't know what sort of state Tobias Upson's in, but he took a beating. He didn't know. He wasn't expecting it. Jacobs came up from behind, hit him down, then just repeatedly stomped him and challenged him to a first blood match at Rampage. If Tobias Upson accepts, which he needs to do if he's not a pussy, it's going to be a great match. The fans are definitely going to be behind that. Either way, now Dr. Karn's making his way down to the ring. He's still our XWF World Champion. Don't know how many times I can have to tell everyone he doesn't deserve to be a champion. But instead, he walks around like he owns the place in his little glasses, in his long coat, with that belt around his waist, just showing off. Doctor, you're not going to have that belt for long, so make the most of it. That's all I'm saying. Look at the fans, they're cheering him. He gives him a little thumbs up. How cheesy. Doctor, you're so cheesy. Look at these thumbs up. As if he respects the fans. He's pretending he cares about them and he's friendly with them. Oh my God, it's sickly. It's sickly. Dr. Karn, he probably doesn't even care about the fans. He just cares about having that goal around his waist and challenging people that are easy targets to him. I don't see him attacking Big D or Triple D. He just challenges the Upson and Inferno. Alright, so now Dr. Karn is taking his glasses off. Oh my God, that is just sickly. And now he's grabbing the mic. He's going to start running his mouth. I'm really looking forward to this. It's going to be great fun listening to Dr. Karn talk a load of crap. So Dr. Karn saying, as you all know, the main event last week between me and Luke Loins. What about it? It sucked, Doctor. He said it was rudely interrupted. And he's been seeing on Twitter that people want to see something. What they want to see? How about they see Bear come up there and kick his ass? Dr. Karn says the fans want to see me and Luke Loins go at it again without interruption. Oh, don't make me watch that match again. I do not want to watch that match again. Dr. Karn says, I thought fine. I'd get Luke Loins down here in the ring tonight, and we'd go again. Oh, God. Please, no. And Dr. Karn says, but then I changed my mind. Why tonight? How about me versus Luke Loins? What's he saying? One-on-one. At the second XWF pay-per-view Rampage. No way! We are not having that as a main event of Rampage. Luke, you can't do that, Doctor. You're not a commissioner. You're a wrestler. And the fans go crazy, and Dr. Karn says, I think the fan reaction is enough to tell me that's what you fans want to see. Oh my God. That is not a main event. That is a piece of trash. Dr. Karn says, see you at Rampage, Luke Loins. Let's give these fans a match they will not forget. Everyone's going to forget it because it's going to suck. Luke Loins can't run a good match himself. Dr. Karn is a terrible champion. I do not want to see it again. You know, we already saw it. Why do we want to see it again? It ended terribly. It'll end terribly at pay-per-view. You know, I've had enough of this crap. Okay, so now the Polka Kings are making their way down to the ring. You know, real wrestlers. Real match that I actually am interested in. That I'd actually want to watch and do my job, which is commentate a real wrestling match. You know, not a Luke Loins versus Dr. Karn. You know, if I wanted to see that, I would just go, I don't know, I would go to a strip club or something and just watch women in high heels, you know, prance about in their underwear, because that's about the equivalent of what Luke Loins and Dr. Karn are going to do in the ring at Rampage. You know, the owner needs to come down here and cancel that match. You know, just put somebody else in the main event, somebody more interesting. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, back to this match. You know, Polka Kings, they're going to be fighting for the #1 contender shot to go against Birds of Prey at Rampage and actually have a good match. Now, it's the Hardcore Hate Crew making their way down to the ring. You know, I've been looking at Twitter. I've been seeing, you know, what the fans have been saying about the tag team gauntlet. And the Hardcore Hate Crew are definitely up there as the favorites. But, you know, Polka Kings have a bit of a following as well. So, you know, fan reaction early on is that they want the Hardcore Hate Crew to win. In my opinion, I don't know. Both teams are great. You know, I'm not going to choose. I'm just going to watch the match, cut it down the middle, see who wins, enjoy the match. Enjoy the wrestling match with real wrestlers, not Dr. Karn and Luke Loins. I'm not going to stop going on about that because that's now the main event of our next pay-per-view. So let's get this show on the road. Curtis Club's using a little arm twist there on Penance. Locks him into a headlock. And Penance headlock of his own, and Curtis Clubs kicks his legs out, you know. Curtis Clubs is a much bigger guy compared to Penance. He's a little guy. And whips him off the ropes and just throws him over his head like a little rag doll. You know, if Curtis Clubs and Dominic Spade can really start using power on these guys, and they're just gonna crush them. They're gonna absolutely crush the hell out of these guys, and he whips Penance off the ropes there. Curtis Clubs just throwing a punch. Penance blocks it, using a headlock of his own. Little European uppercut there from Penance. Just some low kicks to the knees, you know, the signature moves with the Hardcore Hate Crew with their little kicks. Curtis Clubs overpowers him. Massive clothesline into the corner. Drops down an elbow on the face of Penance. Early on, Curtis Clubs is looking strong. He whips Penance into the other corner. He's just walking over. Oh, another massive corner clothesline. You know, really shattering the ribs. Penance is up. Oh, look at this. Spin around head scissors. Great move there from Penance. You know, if I was Penance, I would have considered maybe a tag there early on. Now he's whipping him into the corner of Malice. Oh, he's tagging Malice in, you know, taking my feet back there. Oh, massive kick to the ribs of Curtis Clubs. You know, this is Malice's chance. Fresh man in, flips him over. Oh, vicious kick to the back. Great move from Malice. And, he's looking like he's in control now. And if he can keep control, then the Hardcore Hate Crew can stay on top here. And Malice picks Curtis Clubs up. Turns him around in an armbar. And a snap there, followed by a reverse chin lock. You know, applying the pressure to Curtis Clubs. But Curtis Clubs using his head to break out, you know. A vicious way But Curtis Clubs is a brawler, and that's how you get out of submission holds. Curtis Clubs slips behind Malice, punch to the back of the ribs, and now throwing Malice off the ropes. A massive shoulder barge, almost blowing Malice out the ring. And now Curtis Clubs throws Malice into the corner, and he tags in Dominic Spade, and they're setting up their tag team special, the bottle opener. One of their signature maneuvers. The fans go crazy. Dominic Spade puts Malice into a headlock, but Malice turns it around, quickly recovering. So the thing I love about a flip over there. The thing I love about the Hardcore Hate Crew is they can take so much punishment and they'll be back up on their feet. We just sort of get bottle opener. That's a move that has pinned many foes in the past. And yet Malice was straight back up on his feet. I know it's early in the match, but still he's taking punishment. That's what I love about the Hardcore Hate Crew. Dominic Spade picking Malice back up, side belly to belly, slamming him down on the mat. Great move from Dominic Spade. Like I said earlier, if they can use their power of their body, some drop kick there. Crazy. Dominic Spade, big fella. I've seen him do stuff like that before. Whipping him into the corner, and he tags in his partner, Curtis Clubs. What are they doing? Dominic Spade's holding his arm out. Oh, massive double axe handle. Really focusing on that arm there. And now a German suplex from Curtis Clubs, and Malice tries to stand up, and he just falls over. He's dizzy, he doesn't know where he is, the lights are off. Malice gets up, and Dominic Spade grabs him, and now Curtis Clubs is choking him, Tag team maneuvers like that are really going to do some damage in this sort of matchup. Curtis Clubs going for the cover here. That's 1, 2, and a kick out on 2 there by Malice. It's going to take more damage to finish these guys off, Curtis. Malice running in. Oh, massive shoulder block, just stopping him right in his path. Curtis Clubs displaying strength over these guys, and a massive rib cracker there. Really crushing down on the ribs. Malice is going to need to find a tag. Curtis Clubs picks Malice up, and Malice just legs it. Tags in penance. Clubs, you need to be on the ball more. You can't just let guys run across the ring and tag people in. That's not how tag team matches work. You're supposed to be segregating them from their partner. The idea is to wear them down and prevent them from tagging in. And that's the mistake Clubs has just made, because now Penance is in the ring, and he's really taking it to Curtis Clubs. A vicious kick earlier on, and now a massive arm cracker there. And he's lifting Curtis Clubs up to his feet. And goes for a kick. Curtis Clubs blocks it, and slips under. Curtis Clubs blocked the kick. He had a chance to capitalize, but Penance, he's now tagging in Malice. And what the hell is this? A snapmare. Bounce off the ropes into a little throwback there. Oh, look at Malice over the ropes with an elbow drop. Great move. Malice is going for the cover. And that's a 1, a 2, and Dominic Spade runs in and breaks the cover. And now Penance is attacking Dominic Spade, and Malice goes for a kick. Oh, massive backflip kick there. Curtis blocked his kick, and Malice followed up with a backflip and kicked him. And now Malice using the ropes into a sunset flip pin. That's 1, 2, and a kick out there from Curtis Clubs. Curtis Clubs runs in, gets arm dragged by Malice there. The Hardcore Hate Crew started taking control of this match again, into their corner, and Curtis Clubs swaps him over. And now he whips him over into his own corner with Dominic Spade. You want to stay out of your opponent's corner in a tag team match, and Clubs tags in Spade. What are they going to pull off here? Off the ropes. Oh, man, had him drop there. Oh, King of Spades. It's Dominic Spade's special move, and Clubs knocks off the ropes, and Dominic Spade goes for the cover. That's 1, 2, 3. That's it. The Polka Kings win. The Polka Kings are now #1 contender for the tag titles. Great match there. Completely unexpected ending out of nowhere. But that's what you need to do. You need to pull the win out the bag from nowhere. And that's how you get the #1 contendership. So well done to the Polka Kings. They will be going against Birds of Prey at Rampage. Now Jacob Drake's making his way down. I have no idea why Drake's here. He's not booked in for a match as far as I know. But, you can never have too much Jacob Drake. That's all I'm saying. I'm happy to see him come down with that beautiful Internet Championship. He's reigned that title so well. He's wearing a damaged shirt again. You cannot disrespect this man. He's Internet Champion. He's CWO. He's wearing a damaged shirt. What more could you want from a human being? This guy there is a role model for all the kids out there Not people like Dr. Khan and Luke Loins. Now, I've been looking at the Twitter, and it winds me up. Because I've seen tweets. I saw a tweet yesterday, right? This is ridiculous. It said, Junction should be the champion. A champion. And I thought, what champion should it be? A champion of dicks? And no, the person that wrote it actually thought Junction should be the world champion. Let me tell you something. Junction will never be champion. Junction won't even be anything. He lost to Kentaro last week because he got cocky. Junction's best off going home because Damage is better than him. Damage is the older brother. In this business, if one of you is good and one of you is terrible, the one that's good is the best. And the one that's terrible can leave. So Junction, goodbye. I don't want anything more to do with you. Either way, Jacob Drake's on the mic now. And he's saying this goes out to all those wastes of space in the locker room. What, like Junction? Like Dr. Khan? Like Luke Loins? So this goes out to them. This goes out to anyone that isn't CWO, basically. Jacob Drake says he's still internet champion. Will someone challenge him? Exactly. Look, Jacob Drake, he doesn't care who challenges him. He will win. Oh, what the hell? I know his goddamn music, that is. Titus Valentine. What's he doing here? Titus Valentine, you've had 2 shots at the Internet Championship. You can't have any more. Titus Valentine, he's got a mic and he says, you know what, Drake? I'm sure these fans have heard enough crap from your mouth. Titus Valentine, I've heard enough crap from your goddamn mouth. Get out of here. Get out of this building. Why are you here? You lost twice. You ain't getting enough for a shot. Give it to someone more deserving, Jacob Drake. Titus Valentine says he knows he certainly had enough of Jacob Drake's mouth. Oh my God, he has no right to say that. And Jacob Drake says, Titus, I've defended the title against you twice. I'm better than you. Fact. And it is a fact. It's a goddamn fact. If you looked in a book of XWF facts, one of the facts would be Jacob Drake's better than Titus Valentine. Titus Valentine says, put your money where your mouth is. Me versus you for the internet title of Rampage. No. Don't do it, Jacob Drake. Don't give him a shot. Don't give him a shot, man. Oh, look at Jacob Drake, man. He's not happy. He is not happy. Oh my God, he's definitely going to accept that challenge. We're backstage now with Inferno and Upson, and Inferno saying, hey man, I saw you get attacked by Jacobs earlier. You feeling okay? Why does everyone backstage love each other? Dr. Khan always like boosting all the young guys and all this crap. Tobias Upson says, yeah man, I'm fine, but I'm going to kick Jacobs' ass at Rampage. That's big words for a little man. That's all I'm saying. Jacobs, he beat your demolition, Tobias. Don't get ahead of yourself, man. You gotta focus. And Inferno says, well, listen here, man. He's saying he saw Steve Connor interfere in the match, which was Mike Jacobs and Luke Loins. And Inferno says, just so you know, if Steve Connor tries to interfere at Rampage, Inferno will stop it. He will come down. He won't let it get involved. He says he'll be watching and he'll be on standby to prevent Steve Connor if he tries to interfere. And Tobias Upson says, you know what, man, thanks. I really appreciate that. Inferno's got big shoes, man. He's saying he's gonna try and he's saying he's gonna stop Steve Connor from interfering. That's a bold quote. I don't think Steve Connor would be best pleased to hear that. Mike Jacobs and Steve Connor, they've been in this business for years. They don't like young guys running their mouth about them. Oh, it's the owner. An amazing businessman. I love this guy, He you know what? He raised my paycheck. I don't see Junction's paycheck rising. Anyway, what's the owner saying, Damage? He's saying, I hate to keep going on. But firstly, I've still heard nothing from Nightmare. And secondly, I've just been on the phone to my business partner. Why's he been on the phone? Business partner? I didn't even know the owner had a business partner. I thought he owned this company all by himself. And he's saying he's been offered a large sum for his share of the XWF. And he's considering, what the hell does that mean, man? No one can buy the XWF from the owner. Damage is saying, well, what effect would that have on the XWF? I want to know what it would have. I better keep my goddamn job, man. I love this job. And the owner says, I don't know, damage. I'm trying to talk him out of it. You know, he's trying to talk him out of negotiations. I'm scared. You know, what the hell? Steve Connor's, you know, approaching Inferno backstage. And he says, Inferno, I saw your little talk with Upson backstage. You know, what did I say? I said Steve Connor would not be happy, and now he is here. And he says, you think you can stop me if I was to interfere? And Inferno, you know, he's looking pretty up there. And Steve Connor says, get your ass down to the ring now, boy, and I will teach you what real wrestling is. You know, I'm just saying, this is exactly what I said would happen. And Inferno says, alright, you're on. Let's go, old man. Oh my god, you know, Inferno's getting cocky. You know, if I remember correctly, Inferno, you've lost your last 2 matches, so don't go running your mouth. So, next up, we're going to see Steve the Serpent Connor versus Inferno. This match wasn't on the card, but they've obviously kicked it off now, so this is what we're going to have to watch. You know, I'm not complaining. I'll happily watch these guys. Steve the Serpent Connor, great wrestler. You know, we've been seeing a lot of Mike Jacobs lately. We haven't seen so much of Steve Connor. But Steve Connor, he's now here, and he's backing Mike Jacobs, you know. He's going to stick up for his man. He's going to stick up for his tag team partner, his best mate. You know, they've been in the business a long time. They run their own wrestling school, you know, the Masters of Professional Wrestling School. I think I've said before, Dave Prater is one of their students. And he's also on our roster, and Dave Prater is a great talent. We haven't seen much of him lately. I'm hoping that's going to change, because I want to see more of him in the ring. My prediction for this match, I'm going to go Steve Connor, because Inferno, he's running his mouth. You know, Inferno is an idiot. You know, I used to like Inferno. I've said this so many times. He had it all on a plate at Demolition. He could have been in the main event of Demolition. But no. He had to save the fans and all this crap. I'm not even going to go into it. You know the story. Inferno could have been in the main event, but then his heart and soul is so pure in the fans, and he gave Dr. Khan a rematch, and he lost. And if it wasn't for Inferno, Dr. Khan wouldn't have been in that main event. Nightmare would be against anyone else, and Nightmare would have won, because whoever he was against wouldn't have used illegal moves like Dr. Khan did. So yeah, my prediction, Steve Connor, not Inferno. Look, he's getting all cocky. The fans are cheering him. But at the end of the day, you know, Inferno's young, he's naive, he's stupid, as was proved. Steve Connor is he's a legend. And he's been in this business a long time, and I'm going Steve Connor. Let's get this show on the road. There goes the bell that restarted the match. They're in a little circle round. And Steve Connor uses armbar early on. And another one. You know, what did I say? Oh, elbow to the back of the arm there. Steve Connor in control. Oh, Inferno slips behind. But Steve Connor flips behind and turns into a headlock. A technicality. Oh, Inferno turning around. No, well done. No, you can't out-technic Steve. Oh, Steve Connor with a vicious uppercut there. You know, clipping the jaw of Inferno. He throws Inferno into the ropes. Massive clothesline. Great move. And Steve Connor picks Inferno up. Slips behind Inferno. And a massive elbow to the back of the head, you know. Oh, he goes for a close. Oh, a scissor sweep there from Inferno out of desperation. And now he's picking Steve Connor up. Inferno just throwing some punches. Goes for a kick. Connor blocked it. A massive clothesline. And now Connor just smashing Inferno's head on the mat. You know, the ferocity is brilliant. Goes for a punch, blocks it. They block each other's punches, but Steve Connor comes out on top. Now Inferno throwing some punches, blocks the kick. Oh, clothesline again. Steve Connor's been all over Inferno early on, and I don't think that's going to change. I don't think Inferno's got a chance in this match. Sleeper slam there from Steve Connor. Great move, Steve. Keep it up. Grappling Inferno from the back. Punches him in the back of the head again. Now he's just throwing some punches. Oh, Inferno blocks him. Steve Connor, massive right fist, knocking Inferno to the mat. Now Steve Connor's torn because he knows he's the better man. Inferno runs back in. He's looking angry. And now he's throwing some of his own offense here at Steve Connor. Puts Steve Connor in a headlock. Oh, it slips behind him and rolls over him with these cruiserweight type maneuvers. Throwing some more of his own offense here. A little flurry of punch and kicks. And uses a little flick of the wrist at the end of it. finish off the combo. And again, Inferno, he's not really using any wrestling. He's just throwing punches. Oh, a jawbreaker there, Finally, a real wrestling move. Start using some of them, you might get some progress. Oh, an elbow to the face there. And again, like I say, Inferno's only good at... Oh, and that's what you get, Inferno. You get clotheslined when all you do is punch and kick. Now Steve Connor's going to textbook him in the name of wrestling. Show him some real wrestling moves, Connor. Come on. Oh, and Inferno punching his way out, as usual. Oh, a massive clothesline. You notice how Inferno's punches, they don't really do anything. And then Connor does a clothesline and takes him out in one hit. I love it. Now Steve Connor, as I said, teaching him, release suplex there. One of Steve Connor's special moves. Steve Connor saying, get up for a serpent strike. Oh, this is over. This is over. Oh, and Inferno kicks him in the gut, preventing him from using his special move. Like a pussy, because that's what Inferno is. A pussy. And watch this. Inferno turns Steve Connor upside down into a trees of woe position. What's he going to do? Oh, look at this. Just choking Connor out with his foot. Dirty move for a dirty man that can't even wrestle. And again, worrying. Inferno just throwing punches and kicks at Connor. Using an armbar into a headlock. Finally, a real wrestling movement. I rake. Disgusting. Steve Connor with a DDT. Wrestling. Oh, what the hell? Inferno's getting up angry. Oh, now he's just throwing punches. Oh, shoulder block. Off the ropes. Another shoulder block. Oh, what the hell is going on? Kind of goes for a punch. He ducks under. Oh, a spin out slam. Slamming Steve Connor down onto the mat. I don't believe this. This cannot be it. Inferno picks Connor up for more. Oh no, his signature corkscrew neck breaker. Slamming him down. And oh my god, this can't be happening. Inferno setting fire to the audience. He's setting up. Oh, Steve Connor. He's not having it. Throwing these punches. He's going to go for an explosion. Steve Connor ain't having it. Reverses the whip. Inferno ducks down. Oh, massive knee drop from Steve Connor. Love it. And Steve Connor turns him around. Another one of these release suplexes. This is over. This is over. Say goodbye to Inferno. The fans are cheering Inferno. It's not going to happen. Oh, no. Steve Connor locking in the constrictor. This is over. There's no way. It's one of the most horrible submission holds to be put in. Completely cuts off the air supply from your neck. And Steve Connor really using that arm for more leverage. The ref saying, Inferno, do you want to tap? The ref's got to make a decision because this move takes the air right out of your lungs. There's not a lot you can do. And that's it. Inferno taps out. It's over. Steve Connor, what did I say? He's a wrestler. And he won the match because Inferno is a pussy. And all he can do is throw punches and kicks. Steve Connor is a professional wrestler. One of the best in the business. And he just made Inferno tap. And I know the fans are booing. You can all boo. But I was right. And you were wrong. That's why I'm in the commentary table. Anyway, XWF Rampage, our second pay-per-view. It's in 2 shows' time. It's this show, then Aftershock, then oh my god. I knew this match was coming, and I told myself I wasn't scared. I'm scared. Because as soon as I see Big D, as soon as I see him, I get shivers down my spine. I get tears in my eyes. I can't even speak straight. I don't even know what to say. My dinner is coming back up. I feel so sick. Because Big D's coming down. And if he gets let me focus. If he does lose tonight, I'm not looking forward to it. Because last time he lost and I was here, put me through the goddamn announcer's table. It's a big deal. Just win the match, please. No, I'm sorry. Okay. I'm calm. I'm not afraid. Okay, I am afraid. But, my job is here. And I'm going to do my job. And that's commentate this match. And Big D, he's just a vicious machine. Look at the speed. All he wants is blood and violence. That's all this Big D cares about. Either way, his opponent tonight, this is your main event, ladies and gentlemen. That's Ken Tariff. The lethal Ken Tariff goes one-on-one with Big D. The winner will go against Damage at Rampage for the No Holds Barred Championship. Now let me tell you a little history lesson about Ken Tariff, right? Because I've been seeing tweets saying, why the hell is Ken Tariff here? Why the hell is Ken Tariff here? You shut your mouth. Ken Tariff is a legend in Dead Wrestling. You know, maybe he's not quite in his prime as he was a couple of years back, but he is a hardcore legend in this industry. You know, he beat Junction, and all the fans seem to be, you know, getting behind Junction. Where's Junction now? Where has he been on the show? Because I haven't seen him once, but I have seen Ken Tariff in the main event with Big D. So I think that proves who the better wrestler is. That's all I'm saying. So, you know, back on the topic of Ken Tariff, he's very underrated. I think he's had a bad run in the Xwf so far. That's about to change tonight. Because if he beats Big D, he's going to pay-per-view. If he doesn't beat Big D, hopefully he puts up a good fight so that all the fans and me get to watch a decent match. Big D, oh my god. Just throwing his body at Ken Tariff. You know, I'm surprised he didn't just shatter every bone in Ken Tariff's body. Now Big D, you know, he's picking Ken Tariff up. What the hell is he going to do? He just lifts him, drops his face straight on that turnbuckle. Vicious moves from Big D. This is no holds barred. So, you know, there's no rules here. Overhead punch, dropping Ken Tariff out to the outside. Big D's following him out. And just these vicious punches to Ken Tariff. Oh, God. Big D slipping behind Ken Tariff. Ken Tariff finds a way out and kicks Big D in the back of the knee. Ken Tariff seems to be retreating here. Big D just runs in with a DDT. Vicious. Oh my god, Big D's going under the ring for a weapon. You know, I just want to close my eyes. I don't want to see this. He's got a trash can. Smashes Ken Tariff right over the face with that trash can. And again, vicious maneuvers. Another headshot with that trash can. You know, Ken Tariff isn't going to last long. Big D just beats the head out of him with a trash can. Now Big D just throwing Ken Tariff into that audience barrier. And Ken Tariff slips under. And slips under again. You know, Ken Tariff's got speed over Big D. Throws Big D over into the ring. And now just an elbow to Big D's forehead. Ken Tariff, this is your chance. Make the most of it. Ken Tariff rolls in with a dustbin. But Big D slips under and punches Ken Tariff in the back of the head. Big D's got the trash can. Oh, Ken Tariff steals it out of Big D's hands. Great move. Oh, God, vicious in the face of Big D. You know, enough force to knock Big D over. And another shot from Ken Tariff, and Big D collapses to the floor. You know, Ken Tariff used weapons on Big D. Oh, Harkin runner straight through that dustbin. You know, Ken Tariff using the environment to his advantage there. You know, the Harkin runner does, you know, it does stand the damage for a Harkin runner. Do it onto a trash can. The damage is doubled. Another Harkin runner there from Ken Tariff. Now, Ken Tariff's looking quite strong now. You know, at the start I thought maybe he was going to get squashed by Big D. And now Ken Tariff's really pulling out the bag. Kicks Big D off the apron. Ken Tariff hopping over the ropes. What's he going to do? Oh, a massive hop off there. Landing on Big D. You know, standing leg lariat. And Ken Tariff throws Big D, trips over them steel stairs. And Ken Tariff running up the steel stairs onto the turnbuckle. What's he going to do? Oh, double knee to the face of Big D. Great move from Ken Tariff. You know, I'm impressed with Ken Tariff so far. If he keeps this up, he might have a chance. Now he picks Big D up. Throws Big D into that audience barrier. You know, what's he going to do now? Ken Tariff gets a chair from under the ring. Oh, and a vicious shot. Taking Big D down. And he throws that chair at Big D, catches it, punches that chair straight through Big D's face. Ken Tariff, he's doing great early on. Now he's got that chair again and just smashing Big D in the face over and over. Just kicks to the back of the knees of Big D, you know. Oh, Big D with these overhead punches, you know. What the hell? Oh my god, no. Big D put Ken Tariff, no. Oh, straight through them steel stairs. You know, we saw him do that to Damage or pay-per-view. It's absolutely destructive. You know, that's a career-ending move. And Big D just kicking Ken Tariff. Oh, and kicking his face. You know, this is as good as over in my books. Big D doesn't even go for the pin. He picks Ken Tariff up and kicks him in the face. You know, Big D just wants to play a game with Ken Tariff. Picking Ken Tariff on a massive backbreaker. That is horrific, you know. Ken Tariff might even need to go to hospital after that. Big D's going under the ring, you know, what's he gonna look for? Big D's got a table. A goddamn table. You know, Big D doesn't joke around when he's got Ken Tariff's back on his feet, and Big D just smashing Ken Tariff in the ribs with that table. Oh my god, no. No, Big D with a choke slam. Oh, straight through that table on Ken Tariff. That is horrific, and Big D goes for the cover. This has got to be over. That's 1, 2, 3. That's it. Big D is through. And it will be Big D versus Damage at Rampage for the No Holds Barred Championship. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Tune in to Aftershock. You know what's up.